Let's go. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Mastermind Academy. Good to have you. I'm very excited to be here. Welcome to a brand new excursion tonight. I'm still getting set up. My bad. Well, give me 2 seconds. Usually, if you're new here, usually we give people, 5 to 10 minutes to get in, get comfortable. Kick off your shoes, grab some dinner, grab some food, and get ready because we're gonna be learning some Terraform tonight. Yeah. So I'll introduce myself to you all, to everyone who's new, but let's say hi to everybody. Definitely, if this is your first time here in the stream, I definitely want to know. Yeah, let me know in the chat for sure. What's up? Let's see, who do we have in here? I got to get past all of my chat commands that I put in here. Large Dog, how you doing tonight? What's up? Yep, the lads down the cans. Welcome tonight. Good to have you. Prosty with the goose. I love it. Zosam, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, I feel like. What's good? I hope everybody else is also ready to get going with some good old IAC flow. It's gonna be dope. What's up, Master Docker? I love it. I love it. We actually just got done doing a Docker excursion. We did a 6-week Docker excursion that ended last week. So not this past week, but it ended the week before. 6-part series there as well. Still haven't put it up on YouTube. I'm trash for that. I will make this right for everybody. Dr. Buckwild, good to see you. Alphonse, what's up? First time, long time Ansible user. I do in fact like Ansible. Looking forward to Terraform. It's gonna be pretty dope. I'm glad you're liking the radio voice. It's growing on me. I'm really I get it a lot that I have a radio voice. I'm really, I'm leaning into it. I'm leaning into the radio voice. But it should be, tonight's gonna be fun. Tonight's gonna be really interesting. I've been excited about this particular excursion for a while now. For anyone who doesn't know, you can see my my DevOps Days shirt on. I am a DevOps engineer, and so this is where my heart kind of lies. These types of tools, I think it's going to be pretty fun. But yeah, we're going to get into all of it. So first off, for anyone who's new to Twitch, anyone who's new to how some of this stuff works, you can go ahead and you can hit !Hoist. You can type in !Hoist in the chat and you can hit enter, and what it will do is it'll give you some information about this course. It'll give you a link to a Notion page that we are using to track our progress here. This is where we're going to be putting all the information that we get. Notions are a really cool tool. And so you can click on that link and I'll show you where it takes you. It takes you to the main Notion page that kind of talks about what's going on in the course. So you may have seen this already, and I'm going to switch this up. I haven't changed it yet. I'm going to add a little spot down at the bottom for kind of the stuff for the class, but for today, and actually we can change it. Everything that you're going to need is going to be in this day one link, and I will share this in the chat. And so tonight, let's real chill. Tonight we're gonna get to know each other a little bit, talk about what we're gonna be learning. We'll start to dive into a few things. There's always gonna be a couple of slides, so we'll dive into slides first. Why isn't that loading? Let's see. We'll check why that's not loading in a second. But there'll always be some slides. We'll dive into some of those slides, and then after we dive into the slides, we will go ahead and get hands-on with things. Most nights there won't be that many slides at all. There also will be some useful links for every night besides tonight. There's also going to be code snippets and things for you to copy. There'll be code blocks and stuff. We're not going to be writing any code specifically tonight. We're just going to be learning some stuff tonight. Why isn't this available? Is it shared? It is shared. Is this loading for anybody else? What's up, Hashicorp? How you doing tonight? What's up, Luis Latte? Welcome. What's up, Bible Clan member? What is up? I would love to see MTU plus Docker deep dive. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Maybe we'll incorporate some of that. I've gotten some interesting feedback about the Docker stuff. People have a lot of interest in diving deeper into the Docker things. We are going to be diving deeper into Docker. We're going to be learning more about Docker when we get to the Kubernetes course. It's going to be interesting. I'm still trying to figure out if that's going to be a 2-part excursion or if that needs to be its own journey, because we're going to dive. There's a lot to Kubernetes. There's a lot to container orchestration, period. So I'm thinking about making it an entire container orchestration journey that's much larger than just Kubernetes. But yeah, we'll definitely check it out. I miss the Docker ones. Where can you find them? They're not on YouTube yet. They will be going up on YouTube. I have not rendered them out. The only reason I need to render them is because my intro music is copyrighted, but the music during this is not copyrighted, so I will throw them up. I'll throw them up as soon as I render them out. They're all like 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So it's just take a little bit to render out, but I will try to get them up. I have to do some work tonight, so I might as well just let them render in the background. I got to get them all set up, but yeah. Let's see, let's check it out. This is the future of Linux. I'll check out this video. I haven't seen it, but I will check it out, and I'll let you know. I'm a huge Linux fan over here, as a lot of us are, and I have interesting thoughts about the future of Linux. Okay, so let's pull up some stuff really quick. Actually, this is loading now. It does look like it's loading. It just loaded really slow. So you can go here and you can grab a link to the slides, so you can click right on there and you can get right into the slides. If you want to follow along on the slides, you don't have to. Just, I like to give people the option. And for anyone who is watching this afterwards, not real time, you have access to those, so you can go through them. Again, not many slides tonight, 19, but a lot of them are title slides, so no big deal there, but we'll run through those things. And yeah, and the useful links. We're gonna go over some stuff tonight, and if you need the links to easily click on, you can get them here, so that's where I encourage you to get them from. But first, before we get all the way started, for anyone who is new, let me introduce myself. My name is Aaron Brooks. I am I'm a DevOps engineer currently, but I run this channel called Mastermind Academy. I actually run a company called Mastermind. And so it's a little bit more than just the Academy. The Academy will always be around, always be free. What's the goal? The goal is simply to give anyone who wants a chance to get a quality engineering education, a quality technical education, to be able to give them access to that. I think we can scale access. I think there's ways to scale access, and that's what we're gonna be doing here. We're gonna be figuring out how to scale access. There's also, I also believe there's ways to not only be able to learn, but also to put what you're learning to good use, and make things, technology has the power to change the world, and I think we can make some things that can change the world, or at least really help the people in our communities. So, if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to follow, to like, whatever you do here. On the YouTube thing is like and subscribe. Here I guess it's follow if you want to sub, absolutely. But yeah, we're on here at least 4 days a week, at the minimum. We'll be here 4 days a week covering a number of topics, actually working on a way again to hold more courses. I'm only one person, I can only do so many, but the goal is to really deliver some top, we want to cover all the topics in the software delivery lifecycle. So not even just programming, not just the cloud stuff. We also want to do design, UX and UI, product ownership. All those things are very important, but there's only so much time. So we're trying to find a way to kind of expand and to offer more, so that people, different time zones, all kinds of stuff, can get those things. But yeah, it'll be free. It'll always be free for you to get this stuff. So yeah, that is what this is. Like I said, I'm a DevOps engineer. I currently work for a software company called Fearless, but I only work for them for another great company, amazing company. If you're looking for a job in tech, I absolutely think you should head over to fearless.tech. Great company here in Baltimore. I'm located in Baltimore, Maryland. And pretty dope company, but because of them, they're part of the reason why this is even a thing. I'm actually in a business incubator called Hutch through Fearless. They run this, and so in 46 days, you can't see it because it's not going to change, but in 46 days I will be leaving my cushy software engineering job. I'm a lead. I'm not a lead DevOps engineer. I'm actually a lead of a application team, and I'm leaving that to run Mastermind full-time. Masterminds, it's bigger than just the Academy, but again, more information will be coming out about that as it becomes pertinent. But that's just a slight introduction. Usually I'll have a slide tonight. For these excursions, I'm probably not going to do a slide on me, just because people are tired of hearing it. People are tired of seeing it. All the other things that you need to know about me are simply that I like motorsports. I like driving cars. It's really cool. I do play games, but I have to play less and less of them if I want to hopefully run a successful company. So I'm weaning myself off of games a little bit. The only games I'm going to probably be playing in the near future are racing games, to be honest. But yeah, that's, whatever you want to know, whatever else you want to know, feel free to ask. I can answer. Yeah, so there is a Discord. Now, Oh, I do have some information about the Discord. There's a Slack and there's a Discord. As of right now, the Discord, it'll let you join, but it is, I think all the channels are subscriber only. That is changing. Discord is actually going to be the place that we're going to do all of our communication. We're actually going to be moving from Slack to Discord for everything on the channel really soon, probably within the week. And I'll be putting out some information out about that. But Larger Dog, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Hop in that Discord. We're gonna get the Discord right because that's where, you know, we're really gonna focus the information. There's gonna be some interesting ways that we're gonna be using Discord. Discord has a lot of integrations with Twitch, a lot of ways to disperse information, a lot of ways to interact, and so that's gonna be the place to go. Just it's got more features for our use case than Slack does. Slack's great. You know, Slack's excellent, but we will switch over Discord for everything. So yeah, Discord for everyone, and it will be there'll be a lot of things happening there. There'll be tons of resources in there. It's going to be interesting. I have a significant amount of planning around the Discord itself, but that'll probably be happening this week if anyone was interested. Where that was timing. I tried doing it when the stream was starting. That's dope. That's dope. I will, you know, I'm glad that it popped up where I could see it. What's up, Jonesoon77? Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop straight into it. Tonight isn't going to be too heavy at all, so ask as many questions as you want. We're going to keep it real light. This is going to be introductory one, so the people who are unfamiliar with Terraform at all can kind of just wrap their heads around what we're going to be learning over the next 5 parts after this. The next 5 parts after this will be very hands-on, almost completely hands-on, and we'll talk about what the structure of those are going to look like. But again, just want to introduce you tonight what Terraform is, what problems it solves, talk about some of the jobs and things that you may can get using Terraform, and like also some of the other things you need to know. You know, Terraform is a tool, and we're gonna talk about some of the things that you need to know to bolster that knowledge of this tool and to be able to use this tool properly, because on its own it might not be all that great, or it might be, depending on where you're at and what you need to do. Yeah, so we're gonna talk about all that stuff. We're gonna get Terraform installed. We're gonna talk about HCL, which is the language that you need to know to write Terraform. I know that might sound, you know, that might start throwing people off right there. You start talking about a language and you're like, oh man, we're gonna be learning, you know, 6 parts, are we gonna be learning a language? Not really. We're gonna dive into that and hopefully make that a little less scary for you. But yeah, let's get started with, hold on, here we go, with Hoist, infrastructure provisioning with Terraform. Get ready. Day 1 of 6, let's go. We use the button, getting our money's worth. Tonight, today's topics. 1, what is Terraform? Gotta know what it is if we are going to, you know, if we're gonna get good at it, if we're gonna learn it. 2, Terraform in the workplace. Let's just talk about, you know, again, the types of jobs that you might get where you be using Terraform. IAC, so infrastructure as code. Very important topic to know, and while we're talking about Terraform. Multi-cloud, I throw this in here for a very, we are not going to dive into anything big time multi-cloud. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this at all. They talk about it a lot in both the, like, while you're training for the there's a Terraform certification. Terraform just brings up multi-cloud a lot, and I understand why, but I want to talk about it to take away some of the confusion that people have about Terraform. We'll get it installed, like I said, and talk about HCL. Hey yo, what's up? How you doing? We're finally doing it, man. We're finally doing some Terraform. What's up, Marco Dev? Hey, how you doing? Yeah, so we might jump into a couple different providers. We'll see, but we'll talk about that as well. So that's today's topics. Again, check out if you're interested to find out what is what's coming up and what we'll be doing each day. Just again, hit that exclamation point Hoist, and or go back to this link here, and it'll tell you everything that we're doing each day. Might be a little small, but it'll tell you the things that we're going to be going over each day. And so actually, let's talk about this now. I was going to go into this a little bit later, but let's talk about this now. Every day we'll be learning a few Terraform concepts, a few very important Terraform concepts through slides, and just kind of talking about some things, but we will practice them every single day. Like, as we learn them, we will also be practicing them. And this provisioning practice won't be just us just reading through the documentation, setting these things up. This provisioning practice is going to be you. We're all going to get, we're going to be working through essentially what are going to be user stories. If you've never worked in an environment that practices Agile or Scrum, not super important, but this is just a way that you may be given information when you are given tasks to do when you're working in an environment that may be utilizing Terraform. And so we're gonna have these user stories written for us, and we're gonna go through and we're gonna read through these tasks, and we're gonna figure out how to implement what is being asked of us. And again, things that are being asked of us will be very pertinent to the things that we are learning on this day. So again, every single day we'll be writing Terraform, we'll be solving some problems with Terraform. Learning the tool is one thing, but what's more important is learning how to solve problems using that tool. So yeah, Pequeno Jalapeno, welcome. Thank you so much for the sub. It's also great to know who you are. So thanks for the connection on LinkedIn as well. Yes, Stephen E, yes, you can also grab the schedule. I don't think there's an exclamation point schedule. You can grab it from here. Did I not set that up? I need to set it up if I didn't, but there is a Google Calendar here. Oh, that's some other good information. This is Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 p.m. to about 9, about 2 hours every day. If we need to go over, we will, but I'll try to keep all the meat and potatoes, or protein and potatoes. I don't know. Everyone's not a meat eater. I was informed that it was protein and potatoes, I guess. But sure. We'll try to keep it within that 2 hour time block. And if we need to go over, we will, but we'll try to keep the good stuff in there. Tuesdays and Thursdays were going to originally be another excursion, one for Git, but for a number of reasons, that's not going to be the case. For now, we are working on something called Build, where we are building an open source course generator, course builder, using Gatsby. So if anyone's interested in any of that, we'll be doing that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So cool, that's an update on everything that we're going to be doing. Now let's get back to it and let's learn a little bit about Terraform. So what is it? What in the world is Terraform? Why do people keep talking about it? So Terraform, simply, in pure English terms, it means to change the environment of a planet so that it is more like another planet. If you look up the definition, they'll put in parentheses, commonly in movies or science fiction, is when they're talking about this, but to change an environment's planet so that it is more like another planet. Usually they're talking about making it livable for humans, for people to live on. So doing what you need to do to change the planet for you to live on. So think about that a little bit. We'll circle back just a little bit, but that's what the word Terraform means, because some people don't know that Terraform is an actual word, and that it means something else besides this tool. But there you go. But Terraform, what is it really when we're talking about this tool? What is Hashicorp Terraform? So Hashicorp is the company that builds this tool and maintains this tool. But Terraform is a tool for building, changing, and versioning infrastructure safely and efficiently. This comes directly from their site. Sometimes their definitions are best. So focus on that part first before we get a little bit farther. So building, changing, and versioning infrastructure. And actually, I think I left a slide in here that I don't want to leave in here. But so what is infrastructure? First off, so infrastructure are the assets and the tools that are given to us. Generally, we're talking about in terms of cloud providers. Terraform does not only work for the cloud. We are going to be using it in a cloud space. If you're unfamiliar with the cloud, not a big deal right now. We're going to be using it in a cloud space, but it operates on other levels as well. But the different pieces that are needed, the different the tangible assets that are needed to be able to operate within the cloud is that infrastructure. And so we're going to use it. We're going to use Terraform as a tool to build those things, to make changes to those things, and to version that infrastructure safely and efficiently. Terraform can manage existing and popular service providers as well as custom in-house solutions. So the reason why people like Terraform is the reason why I think Terraform has been taken over, why I think people have adopted it as their provisioner, as their IAC tool, is because of this last sentence here, is that it can manage existing and popular services. A lot of the other tools only provides management of a single service, or their catalog of services that they support is pretty small, but it also does in-house solutions as well, so hybrid cloud things as well. Replace Ansible or used with. This is used with Ansible. So Ansible has some provisioning features as well, but generally you would use this with Terraform, and we'll talk about how that happens. We're going to talk all about infrastructure as code, Stephen Yeat, and we can talk about we can clear that up, the difference between like configuration management tools such as Ansible versus provisioners like HashiCorp. So this is the slide that's supposed to go out of here. We're just going to talk about what infrastructure was a little bit, but I meant to pull that, so that's gone now. All right, so all we know now is that we have a tool that we're going to use to be able to create, to manage, to change, and to version our web infrastructure. So where would I use this? And this is the Terraform in the workplace section. And so I think this part is very important. I'm 100% sure there are people in here. I think the first person to hop into the chat said that, hey, I have no idea what Terraform is. And so if you don't know what Terraform is, this is the first time you're coming in, learning about what Terraform is. You should also know what where you might use it and what jobs that you might use it in. And so all I did was I went to Indeed, and we're about to go do this right now. I went to Indeed and I typed in Terraform. That's all I typed in as a keyword, and I added in some of the jobs that come up, and these are the jobs that people generally think of when you think of Terraform, when you're managing web infrastructure. So something like a DevOps engineer or an infrastructure engineer. I didn't put that in here, but DevOps engineers, site reliability engineers, cloud engineers, systems engineers, and software engineers as well. You will get all of these things and more, but these are just some of the common ones that you might get when you put that in there. And so if you want to pick up this tool, you might want to be working towards, if it's something that you want to use to bolster your career and add it to your tool belt, you're probably going to be working towards one of these jobs or jobs similar to these right here. And so, you know, if you're wondering, there they go. These are some of the common jobs that you'll get when you do a search for Terraform. And so that's what we're going to do really quick. We're going to do a search for Terraform. We're going to take a look at those jobs, and we're gonna look at what else is a part of the job descriptions, because learning a tool is not all you need. There are other things that are gonna go with it that are gonna bolster this, and we'll kind of break that down just a little bit. And we're only doing this because people ask me questions about the Docker. A lot of people went through the Docker excursion as well, and people were, you know, we didn't cover what jobs and things. Some people's first foray into something like that, and they weren't sure what kind of jobs they could get with it, and how to go about getting those jobs. So let's look at some of these and learn a little bit. Would you consider Terraform hard? It's a good question. It's a really good question. I would consider Terraform hard if you've never done any infrastructure as code. If you've done any infrastructure as code and you feel at all comfortable with it, I do not think it's hard. I don't think it's hard. I just think as any infrastructure related thing plays on, there are the tool itself is simple to use, but to be able to use it properly, I think that's where it gets difficult. But no, I do not think it's hard. It's configuration. I don't think it's all that difficult to learn. I think it's pretty. I think that if you have a little bit of command line experience, I think even if you have no programming experience, I think us going through this, I think you would be able to follow along. I think sure you hit times where you're like, I don't know what we're doing. Like I don't know why. Like I understand how to do the thing that we just did. I understand what the thing that we just did does, but I don't really understand why we're doing it. And I think that's the hard part. If you have enough information to kind of fill in the whys, which I'll try to do my best to kind of explain and to fill in, I actually think it's pretty easy to learn Terraform. Okay, so let's just simply go to Indeed. And it's supposed to be fun because we're going to look at some salaries as well. But if you just simply type in Terraform, and I'm going to remove the Baltimore, Maryland tag. Let's do nationwide. And look, the first thing you're going to get is DevOps engineer. You're going to see a lot of DevOps engineering positions. Why? Because DevOps engineer, for some reason, well, not for some reason, I understand why, but it's become a little bit synonymous with infrastructure. And you know, if you're going to be working with infrastructure, it's a safe bet that DevOps engineer positions are going to be what you're going to look for. And so we got some some pay in here, some estimated pay in here, but lots of DevOps engineer roles. You'll get some, you even have a Terraform architect in here. You'll get some automation engineer. So like I said, you'll get some other engineering type roles that are a little more specific. Infrastructure engineers, cloud architects. It's interesting. You don't see many of these anymore, but hey, database administrator. You'll get some full stack devs for this as well. But yeah, so these are the types of jobs again that you're going to see with it. But let's go back a little bit and let's take a look at one of these JDs real quick. So let's take a look at the DevOps engineer one. So look at this, DevOps engineer 2020 from Psychology Today, remote job, paying 125 to 140. Take these salaries with a grain of salt. Depending on where you live in the country, it's going to determine, whether or not that is a good amount of money or not. And we don't know how much experience they're asking for, but I do want to be clear, you can absolutely if you pick up the skills necessary to master a technology like Terraform, if you pick up the surrounding technologies and concepts and understand how to apply these things, this is absolutely money you can make very easily. This money is relatively common. So just, if you're looking for more money, if that sounds like a good amount of money to you, it's certainly doable. $75 to $85 an hour for some of these architects. And let's look at one of these senior Terraform engineers, because this is a very specific role. Let's just kind of look at some of the things that are on here. They offer a bunch of stuff. So they're saying, hey, just give me 4+ years of experience of systems and network administration. So again, this is the synonymous thing with infrastructure. Basically, most of the roles are going to just be are going to require that you have some experience with some type of infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, on-prem infrastructure. So 4 years here, 2 years minimum with cloud. So that's really not that long. 4 years is not a crazy amount of time. Hard to break into the industry, but after 4 years being able to make this kind of money, I think is pretty darn good. And so they're usually all going to ask you for some type of cloud provider, AWS being one of them. We'll talk about cloud providers. You do not need to be super familiar with the cloud right now, but to be good at Terraform and to understand its use cases, it's highly recommended that you do at least get lightly familiar with a cloud provider. We'll be using AWS for most of this, and so this will get you dip your toe in a little bit if you are interested in that. And so yeah, they throw a bunch of stuff in here, Bash, and they'll throw a couple of programming languages in here, and they might throw some things in here about Docker containers. And what you'll start to see is, as you go through these over and over again, you'll start to see a lot of the same things in here. You'll start to see a lot of the same technologies, a lot of the same tools. You'll see stuff about the cloud. You'll see stuff about containers, and they don't all require you to have these things. They'll put them in there. Everyone likes to put all the buzzwords in. But these roles are really, and if you're going to be actually writing Terraform and using Terraform to manage infrastructure, you're likely going to be the person who's responsible for the infrastructure. And so some of the ancillary things you need to know is, you need to have an understanding of how to manage systems. So you probably need to learn some Linux and some Linux administration. You probably need to learn a little bit about networking. You probably need to learn a lot about the cloud, and kind of how distributed computers work together to be able to serve applications out to the world. And so it can be a lot. It can be a lot of information to kind of cover, but I want to be clear that if you learn this tool, it'll set you on the path. But learning this tool alone will not net you this kind of money. There's a lot of other things that you need to be able to use as well. Like, this is just a tool to solve problems, and that's all. So I highly recommend you take a look, do a little Googling. Again, hop on Indeed, look at the types of jobs that you can get with these, and kind of just look at the JDs, grab out some of the keywords that you start to see as you go in between them. What I do want you to also know is, if you're new to the tech industry and you're going through these things and you're trying to pick out keywords and things, I want you to take some time and rather than diving into individual things you find, I want you to start categorizing these things, because Really what you need to know is a number of things in categories rather than individual technologies. It's not super important that you know direct technologies. There are categories of technologies which solve certain problems. Again, we're about to talk about infrastructure as code. We're going to talk about provisioners, and that's what this is. And that will help you a lot to know what to do. One of the places that you can go is roadmap.sh to kind of find out what those groupings are. And so we've looked at the DevOps one before. If you want to be a front-end engineer, back-end engineer, DevOps is what I would look at if you're trying to do infrastructure, just because there's a lot of stuff in here. But there are categories, like the one we were just looking at says, hey, I need you to be proficient in Go. I don't know which one we were looking at, but that's what it said, proficient in Go. And when you read that, yes, it says that's a preferred qualification. But when you read these in job descriptions, usually when they say something like this, they're saying, hey, I need you to understand how to program in a language. And so this is what this roadmap is good for. It's good for kind of, hey, you know, I can't learn all of these things, but I can pick up one. And those concepts are applicable across the board to the other tools in that category that I learned. As we get to infrastructure as code down here, you can see there are some nice little groupings of infrastructure as code. So learning one is super helpful. And so learning Terraform is still good, even if you're gonna go work a job where you're gonna be doing cloud formation. So don't stress about that either. What's up, Greg F? Thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Good to have you. Welcome to the family. All right, so now that we talked about jobs a little bit, and again, I don't really want to give you too much salary information, but again, you can absolutely make 6 figures at having, you know, being mid-level. Mid-level, when I say mid-level, I'm saying between 3 to 5 years of experience. You know, once you've put in about 3 years, I think you can absolutely make 6 figures pretty much across the country with infrastructure type work. And again, it can go very, very high, you know, depending on where you are in the country. Absolutely jobs in Cali and New York, you know, in the 200,000 and up range. Has been pretty interesting to kind of see how salaries fluctuate. But absolutely, you know, if you spend some time learning these things, you spend some time picking these things up, you spend some time, you know, in the fire, you can absolutely make that kind of money. And you can make that money without a degree. You can make that money without, you know, you don't have to go back to school for these things. And I think that's what excites me so much about it. Yeah, take some work. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, become a web developer in 6 months. No. Now you got to put in some work for sure. But there's resources everywhere and you can absolutely get there 100%. You know, the barriers are relatively low in comparison to other things. So let's talk. What time is it? Perfect. We're getting through this very fast. Infrastructure as code. What's up? Then Versha. Sorry if I butchered that. What's Terraform? We talked about it a little bit earlier. If you hit ! Hoist, you can get access to these slides. There's a link. You can get access to these slides. But Terraform is an infrastructure provisioner. It allows you to build, change, and manage as well as version infrastructure. So a lot of times we're talking about cloud infrastructure, but these physical assets, or these physical or virtual assets that allow you to deliver things over the web. Cool. So infrastructure as code. This is I think this is the most important concept of the night. Because this is much bigger than just Terraform, and infrastructure as code is really what is driving a lot of the amazing automation that you can do today. It's really cool. There's a lot of tools now. There's a lot of cool things that allow for this, and I'm an old school, you know, I come from a hands-on sysadmin, Linux sysadmin background. It's very interesting managing infrastructure and the way that we do now, as opposed to the way that we did earlier. Also, everyone who is going to who's typing in the Hoist thing, sorry, I'm gonna change the page up a little bit, but the place you want to be looking for these slides is underneath day 1. So go down to the curriculum and look under day 1, and you can click on the link that's right here under day 1, and that will take you to the slides. But infrastructure as code, what is it? Func, build, meet a server. That means nothing to you if you've never programmed before. That means nothing to you if you've never written a function. But we're gonna learn some stuff. So infrastructure as code, or IAC. You'll see IAC a lot. Someone wrote it in the channel before, in the chat before. But infrastructure as code is the process of managing and provisioning computer data centers through machine readable definition files, rather than physical hardware configuration or interactive configuration tools. Now, a lot of words there. Let's break down the first part. Managing or provisioning computer data centers through machine readable definition files. So the way that you used to manage infrastructure and the way that you used to provision infrastructure is, yes, the GIF absolutely is jQuery. I was actually waiting for someone to say, hey, that's not Terraform, that's not infrastructure as code. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Good catch, Codephobia. Also, hello Codephobia. Let me give you a little shout out here. Codephobia is another streamer. If you you know, Twitch is a great place to learn from. And Codephobia does some pretty dope stuff. It's really good. I've been having a really good time watching people just build things, and like, you know, you learn as much as you can learn through your job and stuff, but your experience, the things that you're doing every day, it's kind of isolated, and you know, people are doing all kinds of cool stuff all over the place. And so I highly encourage you to check out some other streamers as well and watch them build stuff and build things with them. It's a great way to learn quickly, and it's fun. It's really fun. So Codephobia is a pretty dope streamer, so I definitely give him a follow and say hello. But yes, machine readable definition files. So the old way that you used to provision and manage infrastructure is, hey, I'm a company, I need you know, we're growing, we're getting much more traffic to our servers. For us to get a new server to add more capacity to be able to serve more people, we have to order a server from Dell. We have to go online and we have to say, hey, or we have to, you know, call on the phone or go online and say, hey, we need a server of a certain size. We don't really know. We're kind of guessing at this point. Give us a big server with this much memory, with this kind of CPU, with this much hard drive space, you know, with Windows on it or with Linux on it or whatever, or with nothing on it, and we can do the rest. And we have to, you know, drop $10,000 for them to bring that to you know, to ship that out to us. Might take a couple weeks, might take a couple days, who knows, but they'll get that server out to you. That server comes, it gets shipped to you, it's heavy, it's in a box. You whip open that box. Now you take the server out of the box, unwrap it and everything. Now you gotta rack it. So you gotta find a place to put it. So maybe that's your data center. Maybe that's you know, a rack inside of a closet where you currently work, but you gotta have a place to put it. So you put it in that rack, you rack it up, you know, you physically pick it up, put it in there. Now, this is just a computer sitting in a rack, doesn't mean anything. You plug it in, you get it hooked up, you plug in Ethernet cables, you plug it into the right switch port, you do all the stuff, and you cut it on. And then after you cut it on, you gotta install an operating system on it. You gotta install Linux, you gotta install CentOS, you gotta install Red Hat. And you gotta get that set up, you gotta get it networked properly, you know, you gotta set up your NIC, you gotta set up all the stuff, you know, get all your applications on it, all that stuff. You got to do everything by hand. You know, this is a very time consuming process. I'm not lying to you when I say this could take weeks, months, for sure. I've seen it happen many times, and it's very cumbersome. And you may not even need that much server space. Maybe you've just doubled the amount of capacity that you have. You spent all this money all because you needed a 10% increase in capacity. Now you're wasting a little bit of money, a lot of money actually. So it's just, you know, it's annoying. And what if your traffic falls off? Now you don't need it at all, but you know, you had to drop 10,000 on the server. But it's really annoying, and for you to manage it, you have to, you know, problems happen, you have to log in and you got to know what's going on the server, and you got to do your troubleshooting, and you got to see what's going on. And you know, there's no history of what happened on the server. You got to, like, you know, remember how it was set up or how it's supposed to be set up through these like readmes that you made, these little walkthroughs, SOPs that you made years ago. And it's really annoying. You're not sure what software is supposed to be on there. You don't know what's updated, what's not updated. Really annoying. Instead of doing that, now you can do this management, this provisioning and management, by providing a machine readable definition file. So you basically say, hey, computer, I'm gonna write a little file for you. I'm gonna put a little, write down in this little file what I want. I want a server with this much memory, with this much hard drive space, networked in this way, and I wanted to have these things on it, and I'm going to give it to the machine, and the machine is going to make it happen for me. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. And that is how the provisioning and management is done. If I want to make changes to it, I say, hey, I no longer need this much memory. I want to have less memory or more memory. I change that in this definition file. I give it to the computer. The computer takes care of it for me. Now, this has been brought about. This has been so popular because of the cloud, because of the invention of the cloud. That's what drove, what has driven this infrastructure as code movement. And it's pretty interesting. So you don't have to do the manual management of these servers and services anymore, and it's really nice. Not to say that you never have to do it, but yeah, it makes it much easier to manage these things. Let's see, right underneath my coffee table. Hey, you got to put it where you put it. It's funny because I prefer the cloud for organizations, and if you're a person, if you have access to a server that you can get, companies are giving them away. I say grab one, and you can do a lot of dope stuff in your house with a server or that's racked underneath your coffee table. What's up, Stu? How you doing? Oh, first off, that is a dope, I really like that that haha think. That's good. Limited time only emote. I love that. That's dope. Right on the table as well. All right, here we go. So why infrastructure as code? We know what it is a little bit now, but why do we want to use infrastructure as code? Because it does a lot of dope things. So it creates a consistent and reusable ways to deploy and manage infrastructure assets and configuration. So consistent. Humans, we are problematic. Human error is a big deal. We make mistakes. A lot of humans have fat fingers, as I do, and that's problematic when you are configuring things. And so consistency is key. And so if you're writing these things in machine readable definition files, you write it once. You only need to write it one time, and you can use it in multiple places. So consistent and reusable. Write it once, use it more than once. And you can use this to deploy and manage your infrastructure assets and configuration. Really nice. It helps prevent configuration drift. Now, what in the world is configuration drift? So let's say you work at a company, you got 10 servers. Each of those servers are web servers, and they have 4 applications each on them. They have the web server themselves, maybe Nginx, and they have 3 applications which support your company, 1 external, 2 internal, and they're running great. They all work together. They're running as a cluster, doing what they need to do. But when application updates need to be made, which you used to have to do, is someone would log into server number 1 and would upgrade it and put new files in place or make whatever changes, do a deployment to server 1, and then someone would have to log on server 2 and do the same thing, and then 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Now again, human error is a big deal. Think about how many errors you make a day on your computer, and that can happen a lot. Also, machines can be set up to do all kinds of things, and maybe they're running certain jobs that modify data or something, and over time these 10 servers can get out of whack. Maybe we've upgraded Nginx to the next version on 2 of the servers for some reason. Maybe we're doing some testing and never reverted or something, but these 10 servers, over time, their configuration will get out of whack. They will not be in line with each other, and we don't want that. We don't want different servers having different versions of applications. We want them all to be the same, and so this helps prevent a drift in configuration. Why does it do that? Because again, you can use this code to continuously not only provision the infrastructure, but also to check and make sure it is in the same state. So let's say something gets out of whack. If we were to use any of these configuration management tools, any of these provisioners, if there were changes that were made, if configuration has drifted since the last time we did something, it will set it back right. It will fix this for us, and that is really dope as well. There's an interesting story about configuration drift. I do not know the company, but I don't remember the company's name. It's like Castle Rock or something, but there's a finance company. I'll find the story for you all. But basically, they lost some ridiculous amount of money in like in like 2 hours or something like that, because of a single server being configured unlike the rest of them. And they lost some ridiculous amount of money, and I think it essentially put them out of business in just a few hours. Pretty wild story. But again, configuration drift can be super problematic, especially for if your site is revenue generating. My favorite of all of these, my favorite of every single one of these, is free documentation. Documentation is something that no matter how much you like to do it, no one does it well. No one does documentation well. What documentation is simply creating information and creating texts and logs about the infrastructure that you are setting up, so that one, you know what you did and what to do to get it back there afterwards and how it works, as well as other people know how to, how this thing works and what's involved with it, and just information about what you're doing. And it provides free documentation. How does it do that? It does that by, if you have to describe what you want to the computer, this is essentially a log book of what you have, what's available. It's essentially a manifest. It is it's your inventory. It's an inventory file, basically, of what you currently have or what you're supposed to have. And that's really nice. So if I join a company and they're using Terraform or they're using CloudFormation or something, and I want to know what's going on in this environment, I want to know what they have set up, I can hop right into their code, to that Terraform code, and I can look through it. Not super easy. I'm not going to just be able to just open it up and be like, wow, like they've got 13 servers and they have this thing. I'm gonna have to look through, I'm gonna have to comb through and understand what's happening. But it is a way for me to know what's going on and to see what's happening, especially if I need to do a quick reference to find out where something is or whatever. This documentation is great. Speed is one of the biggest ones. No longer, again, do you have to call Dell up and get them to ship you a server. You can provision things quickly, and because you've created in this reusable, consistent way, you can very quickly apply changes and apply updates to different things. And so it works very, very quickly. It's much faster to let the computer do it than for you to do it manually, which is nice. I can deploy an EC2 instance, even though it's very fast to do by hand. I can deploy it much faster using Terraform. And then your infrastructure is now automated. Automation is king. Automation is what you want. You want to make your job as easy as possible. You want to remove the human element as much as possible. And having automated infrastructure is pretty dope. Sim, welcome tonight. Welcome all of the Sims raiding party. Good to have you. Perfect timing. We are learning about a great tool called Terraform tonight. How are you all doing? First off, shout out to Sim. Let's see. I'm in a bad habit of typing an exclamation point and the person's name rather than typing in the SO first. But Sim is another streamer, does some cool stuff that's out of my bounds, to be honest. Some cool science stuff. So again, if you want to learn, there's so many people here on Twitch to learn from. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a great stream. What in the world were you streaming about today? I'm always interested. You always tell me some very exciting item that you're streaming about this current day. Set it to deploy and get lunch. Yes, automated infrastructure is nice because you can do that. You can set it to deploy and you can go get lunch. Really, really nice. Fractal flames. So first off, we're gonna I don't know what that is. So fractal flames. Ooh, okay, there we go. So I'm terrible at I'm the worst Photoshopper. I'm pretty sure it said did you make these in Photoshop? Did you make them in Illustrator? What'd you use to make them? I'm bad at all those tools. I'm trying to get better. I learned Inkscape a little bit in GIMP, but I've been having, first off, you did it with, so that's pretty dope. If anyone doesn't know, Julia is a programming language. Is Julia a port of Python, or is it like Python-esque? But I know it's used for like, I think it's used for data science, I think. I don't know. I was gonna look into it because someone told me to look into it. Maybe not, but people will talk about it with Python all the time. It's an algorithm, it's a new language. In the high performance computing, my day job. That's dope. That is really cool. I want to get a little deeper into data stuff because the world is data. But there's too many tools to learn, you know, but that's pretty dope. That sounds cool. And I absolutely have no idea how to do any of that, so I'll have to take a look for sure. What's up, Yamba Tech? I can't, like, I have a new monitor over here and I have it flipped vertically, and I can't see the dark blues. But what's up, first time subscriber? Dope. Thank you so much for the subscription. Good to have you. Welcome to the channel. You know, this is the place you want to be if you want to learn, if you want to learn all the cool DevOps stuff, all the cool software stuff. You know, content incoming all the time. All right. So not multi-cloud, go back. So why I see these reasons why, again, it's really nice. It makes your job much easier. Now, I will say, when you are in your beginning stages of learning infrastructure and you bring in middle stages, this will be a more daunting task to set up this way up front. And so I actually highly encourage people who are doing this stuff is to, hey, learn how to set it up first, learn how to set it up manually first, and then learn how to apply that to code afterwards, because I've seen people try to dive into it and like it does take a little bit different thinking to do it properly or to do it quickly. So yeah, so don't trip if when we get into this you're like I'm confident you'll understand what we're doing, the what's of what we're doing, but the whys might be a little bit harder, like I said before. I got it right first shot. There we go. Infradude on Twitch, what's up? Thorn Metal, yes, absolutely, that's me. You know, again, like DevOps shirt right here. Infrastructure will always be my main love. Like I said, I'm an old school infrastructure guy. You know, lots of hands-on management of servers. You know, so it's been interesting going through this change in the way that we're doing stuff. It was hard at first. You know, I was averse to it. You know, but better. Nah, large dog. No, nobody is trust me, we're just, you know, you see things, you pick it up, someone says something to you, remember what they said, and then the next time someone's talking about something, you know, throw it out there, say, hey, I know that word that you just said, I don't know what it is, but I said it. Like I said, I don't know what Julie is, but I know that it's a programming language, and you know, I know what you do with it. I know what people do with it. I know it's popular. So you start conversations that way. You know, we're not. Look at that Spielberg programmer. When I set up my new internet server, it looks too complicated for just one server. Yes, absolutely, Spiel programmer. Welcome first off to, yes, absolutely, it is it's probably, I would say probably overkill for a single server. Now, I think there are a lot of situations, even for a single server, where it makes sense. I think we'll learn those things, but for a single server, probably a little overkill. But what's up, Callow? Shout out to Callow. We got a lot of streamers in the house tonight. Callow does some really dope Twitch bot building, a bunch of JavaScript stuff. So if you ever want to have some fun, we raid Callow a lot, and when we do, we always got to defend off the raids. He's got some cool overlays and things that he's built. But I'll give a shout out to you as well. Thanks for coming through and spending a little time with me. I do appreciate it. It's good to see the community in here. I always get excited when you all come through. Just learning Ansible recently, yes, and there's actually right here, we're actually on the slide right now, we're about to learn about the differences a little bit between Ansible versus Terraform and things like that. So these are what I consider to be the pillars of IAC, the pillars of infrastructure as code. This is not a thing, this is not an official thing, so don't try to go into your next interview and say, hey, I know the pillars of infrastructure as code, okay, and they are these things. Not a thing. These are my pillars of infrastructure as code. The way that kind of I break them down, and I like to remember them and separate them. A lot of people don't separate them in this way, but I do, because I think it's the easiest. I think it's the easiest and best split. And yeah, I think they need to be split. So I think there are three pillars. The first of which, this is in no particular order. When I say the first of which, I don't mean the best of which. This is just usually the order in which they are implemented in. But the first one is infrastructure provisioning. This is how you get the underlying assets. This is how you get the servers. This is how you get the networks. This is how you get that underlying infrastructure set up. So these are tools, and we can look back at the DevOps roadmap. These are tools like Terraform. What we're learning right now is an infrastructure provisioning tool. There are plenty of other popular ones, other ones being CloudFormation. Now, we're going to talk more about what Terraform is. Terraform is so loved, again, because of that last sentence we read, is that it's popular because it can be used with many different service providers, popular service providers. So yes, we can use it with Amazon Web Services, and we can also use it with Google Cloud Platform, as well as Microsoft Azure. If we want, we can suit it to fit our needs. This CloudFormation is a popular one as well, but it is focused specifically on Amazon Web Services. You can only do management of infrastructure on this platform using this tool, AWS CloudFormation. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If anyone from AWS is watching, I love AWS. I really do. I've got a couple of certs. I deal with AWS more than any other cloud provider. CloudFormation is big trash. It's not a good product. It works. Things that work doesn't mean it's good. It is not a good product. If you want to understand, if you want Terraform to feel easy to you, if you want Terraform to feel like the best tool in the world for you, dive into CloudFormation first, learn CloudFormation first, and then switch over to Terraform, and you will understand one of the reasons why it's so popular. I honestly attribute CloudFormation to being one of the reasons why Terraform is so popular. When AWS made a product this bad, it works, but it's very difficult to use. It's very verbose. It's very it's not really made for people. I feel like it's hard to write, it's hard to read. And again, I write Terraform every day. I write Terraform I write CloudFormation almost every single day. And yes, it's not good. It's not good. And because of that, they actually have some other stuff. AWS CDK, they've developed the CDK, which is the Cloud Development Kit, which will allow you to use actual programming languages like Python and Java and JavaScript to be able to define infrastructure. So this is actually pretty cool. So if you want to check it out, this is a provisioner as well. Really, really cool. So define cloud infrastructure using familiar languages. Pretty dope as well. So I do want you to be familiar with just, again, those category of tools. So provisioners, things that provision web infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, are those things. Pulumi is a cool one. That's also uses languages like Python or JavaScript. Much less popular than anything we've talked about so far. But it is infrastructure as code. You define your infrastructure using JavaScript or TypeScript or Python or Go or .NET, and you can use that to define your infrastructure. So tools like this, tools like CDK, are a little more developer focused. The goal is hopefully to say, hey, if devs are already working on the code, why not allow them to be able to provision and manage infrastructure using the same languages that they write the application in, which is a great idea. So you'll find that there's a little bit of a rift, and generally things are changing substantially, but a lot of people who have come from infrastructure backgrounds are not too keen on application development and probably don't have those languages in their back pocket as tools, and so they've traditionally we've leaned towards things like these tools like Terraform or like Ansible or Chef to do the work for us, because they have their languages are they have their own domain specific languages that are a little more centered, a little more comfortable for non-programmers. Not having to do these imports and things is really nice. But yeah, the tools are just they're getting better and better and better, and there are a lot of them out there. So infrastructure provisioners, that is the very first of the three that I like to break down. And now this is where the difference is. So infrastructure provisioning, things like Terraform, server software configuration management. So these are the tools like Ansible. This is the tools like Chef and Puppet. And what's the difference here though? What's the difference between, where's the roadmap? What is the difference between this thing over here and these right here, configuration management? So if infrastructure provisioning says, hey, go ahead and give me the server, go ahead and give me, the networks, that are going to be attached to that server. Go ahead and give me the hard drives that are going to be attached to that server. Go ahead and give me the load balancer that's going to sit in front of that server. The configuration management tool is going to be the thing that manages the software on these infrastructure assets. So it's going to be the thing that sets up your server. So Terraform would give you the server. I need a server of this size with Terraform, and then Ansible will come in after and says, cool, now that we have that server set up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install a web server on it. I'm going to install this programming language on it. I'm going to install these tools and applications on it so that it can do the thing that you want it to do. So you can use them in tandem. So you do use them in tandem. Now there is overlap. There's a Venn diagram for sure. There's absolutely overlap between configuration management and infrastructure provisioning. You can do some configuration management with infrastructure provisioning tools, and you can do some infrastructure provisioning with configuration management tools, but they were designed for what they were designed for. So people generally will provision the infrastructure first and then take the configuration management tool and use that to apply the software and the changes to the infrastructure that you just did. Yes, they are both independent. You do not need to use both of them together. You can manually provision your infrastructure by hand. I can go into AWS and spin up 10 servers, and then I can use one of these configuration management tools like Ansible to manage them myself if I want, or vice versa. Or I can spin up 10 servers with Terraform and log in manually and configure all the software and services on them myself, rather than using one of these tools. They are completely independent from each other, but they can work well together. Like I said, these tools allow you to provision certain things, but they're not amazing at them. They're lacking a lot of features, and these allow you to do some configuration, but again, not amazing, missing tons of main features that you would probably want to learn. Imagine being the PM of a cloud of CloudFormation and just looking yourself in the mirror and then coming to the conclusion, yeah, Bites Back. It's sad, but I'm very confident that CloudFormation was not written by a singular person. Now, what I will say about CloudFormation, yes, I do not think it's a good product. Two, it does work, but CloudFormation is one of those early things. It's one of the first stabs at something like this. It's one of the the really early things to manage all the wild stuff that AWS had, and I think that it's one of those things that kind of grows over time. I'm sure there are many PMs, product managers of CloudFormation, but hey, it is what it is, and I think they've obviously acknowledged it again with the CDK. I think they're doing what they can to make it a little bit better. I think they've heard, they've heard the feedback, but gigantic company, people are still using Amazon's cloud, whether or not CloudFormation is great or not. Also, having people use Terraform does not hurt them. It doesn't hurt them really at all. In fact, more people who know Terraform probably helps them. So, that's it. Yes, HCL made with Go. Terraform is written in Go. We're gonna learn about that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm a legacy infrastructure guy moving to IAC. Love Terraform. Absolutely. Terraform is pretty dope. My first foray into infrastructure as code was actually Puppet, and it rocked my world. It was wild. It was wild to see that, like, at that time, like, the way that you did stuff was you just logged into the servers and you just did it. Like, you literally, if I need to make a change, I would log into all 25 of these servers. Me and the people on my team, we would say, all right, you got servers 1 through 5, I got 6 through 10 or whatever, and we would log in and make those changes, and we would mess up all the time. We would make errors all the time, and configuration changes, like, we'd be like, oh, server 6 is being weird, log in and figure out what's going on with that. And when we first dove into Puppet, oh man, it was wild. It was crazy. So I actually dove into it myself on the side, because I was trying to get, I was looking to make the next move, and all these new jobs were asking for Puppet or Chef at the time. Those were the two big ones that people were asking for, and I had no idea what it was, so I dove into it, and I took it back to them immediately and was like, hey, we got to do this. I don't know how to do it, but we got to do it, because this is wild. This is pretty crazy. And we did. I left before we implemented it all the way, but it was pretty dope. It definitely was pretty dope. Both are idempotent. Yes. If you're using modules, once you use shell or command, you open yourself up troubleshooting in the foot. Yes, that's true. There are, certainly with infrastructure as code, period, there's a you know, again, there's a different way of going about thinking about this stuff, a different way of going about troubleshooting, different way of management. So yes, absolutely. Where does something like Jenkins fit in? Great question. So Jenkins is a CI tool. So CI tools on this list are over here. And so where it will fit in, and again, Jenkins can be used for a lot of things. You can run your infrastructure code through Jenkins if you would like. So for everyone who doesn't know what CI is, continuous integration, continuous deployment, CI/CD, continuous delivery, continuous deployment. A CI tool basically automatically for right now, it's an automatic script runner. So basically you'll set up a workflow, you'll set up a workflow of things that you want to happen every time you change some code. So generally when you change some code, you want to say, hey, first verify that this code, looks okay and is formatted okay. And so to make sure that happens, and then it'll run some tests and say, hey, make sure, the things that we did in here are going to do the things that they say they're going to do. And then maybe you want it to automatically deploy some stuff out. And so very generically, you would provision some infrastructure with something like Terraform. And then you would use something like Ansible to configure the software and services and applications that are on that infrastructure. And then you would use a CI tool to deploy updates or new applications out to that infrastructure as well. So both the CI tool will be an interesting thing that you could use in tandem with either one of these. It's very interesting. It's actually very nuanced. Now that I'm talking a little deeper about it, you can use it in many ways, but it is also a separate entity. It's a separate tool. It's like one's a hammer, one is a screwdriver, and one is one of those tools that you use to smooth out like the grease or the caulk or whatever. I don't know. They're all just completely different tools that you can use together, but they are different. I'll think of a better example before we get through here. Very interesting. Open source courses building tool. Oh yeah, other project. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later after we get through this. Terraform Cloud has some slick dashboards for TF State. Yes, we're not gonna dive into Terraform Cloud during this. We're gonna talk about it, but we're not gonna do anything inside of it. I do want to check out Terraform Cloud for sure. State is gonna be something we spend a lot of time on. Okay. So those are the pillars, like I said. Those are two of the pillars. The last one is scripting. So scripting to me absolutely is infrastructure as code. Some people will say that it's not because there are specific infrastructure as code tools. I disagree. Really, the things that you're setting up on these are really, they're really script runners as well. But scripting as well is a form of infrastructure as code. Whatever you can do to define your infrastructure, again, in files that can be read by a machine and run, really helps out. So those, again, are the three different places. So provision your infrastructure, configure the software and services that are on that infrastructure, and scripting for some of those other things. All right, so let's move on a little bit farther. Multi-cloud, we are not diving deep into multi-cloud. I grabbed this right off of Wikipedia. They talk about multi-cloud a lot. Now, if we were to go to if you asked other people what Terraform is, a lot of people will tell you that Terraform is a multi-cloud tool, and while it'll allow you to do multi-cloud things, I wouldn't really consider it a multi-cloud tool. But what people would make you think is that, hey, because Terraform can be used with a bunch of different cloud providers, people make it sound like you can write one day, you can say, hey, I can write one piece of code that can work on all of these cloud service providers. That is not true. That is what I thought going into Terraform. That's what a lot of the other infrastructure engineers that I know, who, when they started to learn Terraform, people made it sound like this tool where you could say, hey, if I want a server, if I want like a virtual server, an EC2 instance, or an Azure virtual machine, like I could say, hey, in Terraform, however you write it in Terraform, give me one of these, and I could just push it to either Amazon or push it to Azure or push it to Google Cloud, and it would know what to do. That's not true. Not at all. So what is multi-cloud? I won't say scripting infrastructure as code unless it's so Only no. I would, and I'll tell you why after this, but I love discussions like this. I would, and I'll tell you right after this. So multi-cloud is the use of multiple cloud computing and storage services in a single heterogeneous architecture. This also refers to the distribution of cloud asset software applications across several cloud hosting environments. So this just means that you are utilizing to serve your application, to have your things work. You are utilizing resources from multiple cloud providers. You're not all in AWS. You're not all in Azure. This can work in a couple different ways. I've heard arguments against multi-cloud not being the second way that I'm about to tell you, but maybe, yeah, but just your application uses pieces from multiple cloud providers. That's all multi-cloud is. Or that you have, and so I think this is still multi-cloud, and we're gonna talk about some of the arguments against it, but where maybe you're running all of your main stuff out of Microsoft Azure, and what you have is a complete replica of what you're running in Azure. You have it over at AWS sitting and waiting as they kind of failover environment in case something wild should happen to Azure one day. They have some type of complete data center outage. You can transfer your traffic over to AWS instead. That's multi-cloud as well. I consider failover, I consider disaster recovery to be a part of your application. I think that absolutely falls in line with multi-cloud. But yeah, just using different aspects of different clouds for a single architecture is all multi-cloud is. And again, Terraform works with many different cloud providers, but the way that it operates within them is different. You do have to reference how to properly use Terraform to operate within each of the cloud providers that you want to use. We're going to talk about that throughout the course. All right, we're not going to do installation yet. What time is it? 8:11. Okay, we're about to do it. We're about to do it a little bit, but let me tell you why I would consider scripting as infrastructure as code. I would consider it as infrastructure as code for the same reason why you put why there's user data inside of CloudFormation templates or wherever you want to put it, and that is because scripts can be used as a way to configure states, can be used to configure the way that something exists, and I don't think in every single use case scripts make sense as infrastructure as code, but it gives you all of the benefits that we talked about up here. On the YIAC, if you do it properly, and I guess then I do kind of agree with your statement of unless it's idempotent. Yeah, I guess I do agree with that. Yeah. But yes, I do include scripts in there. I always will. All right, Terraform installation. Terraform installation is actually very, very easy. Terraform is written in Go. If anyone's not familiar with Go, Go is a programming language developed out of Google. It was born out of Google to solve some of the problems that were specific to a company of their size and their scale. And it's a pretty dope language. I love Go. Go is my favorite programming language. A lot of DevOps tooling is written in Go. It's because it's a performant systems language that is pretty easy to write. And yeah, it's written in Go. Go is a statically typed compiled language, and so it is delivered to you in an easy to run executable, so you don't have to do a lot of crazy setup. And so we're gonna click on this link here in a second, and we're gonna go and simply show you how to set that up. I do not have it installed. This is where we're going to get into the command line. Hopefully I did put it in as a prereq. We're not going to spend too much time in the nitty gritty of the command line and talking about what to do. But that is why there's a day in between this class and the next class. And that's why this is done over 3 weeks, because you can learn all that you need to know about the command line. I provided a video for you if you need it, about some of the stuff that you may need to learn to be able to do this. You don't need a ton of command line knowledge. We're going to be doing very simple things from the command line, and then all of the Terraform commands we're going to be learning are specific to Terraform, so everyone's going to be learning them just like you. Hybrid cloud is a type of multi. So hybrid cloud, no, is not a type of multi-cloud. Hybrid cloud, public and private cloud. So imagine or on-prem things. Imagine you are using Amazon Web Services. Imagine you're working at a company who wasn't using the cloud at all. They had their own data center, or they were renting space out of their own data center and had a bunch of servers there that served a bunch of their applications. And they wanted to start to make the move to the cloud. And you took, 2 or 3 services and you put them up in Amazon Web Services, and they interact. You set it up in a way that it interacted with the applications that still existed in the data center. That would be a hybrid cloud. It's between the public cloud and the private cloud, rather than 2 public clouds. So as I was saying, perfect answer there. All right, let's click the link, and actually it's also in the Notion page. Easy clickable link here, and we're gonna grab Terraform. So Hashicorp is the company, like I said, that creates this and also manages this. Hashicorp is a pretty dope company. I would check them out if I were you. HashiConf is coming up in October. I think it's completely free, like every other conference this year. I would check it out if you're interested. I'll share this. But they have a lot of cool tools that help support infrastructure. Hashicorp, they're called Hashicorp because I think the dude's name is Hashimoto, Mitchell Hashimoto. And oops. Yeah, they just make a bunch of cool tools, a bunch of very popular tools to help manage infrastructure. So Terraform is the one that they have right here up top. This is probably now their most popular tool. Probably. It's dope. It's really cool. Vault is a secrets management tool. Secrets management is very important when you're talking about infrastructure as code and the speed at which we move through things with containers and everything. Nowadays, serverless. Vault is a dope way of managing secrets and passwords and API keys and things like that. So pretty dope. Console is a service discovery platform. This kind of helps with a number of things. I'm actually not even going to talk about it that much. Console is cool. It's used in support with a number of things, including Vault. But yeah, consoles, it's cool. Nomad, I haven't used Nomad at all. I think it's a container orchestration tool or container deployment thing. Deploy and manage any application or any infrastructure with ease. It's got something to do with containers, I'm pretty sure. Orchestration for dynamic infrastructure. Sure, maybe I'm wrong. I never used it before. I think it is their newest product. So if anyone knows anything about Nomad, feel free to share all the information that you know about it, because I don't know much about Nomad at all. I saw a demo of it at a conference, but I wasn't really paying attention, and I was only watching it to get a free t-shirt. Not that I didn't want to use it, but I was tired, and I just wanted the free t-shirt. I have a couple of Hashicorp shirts. Vagrant's probably their oldest tool, maybe, and I'm guessing at these things that I'm saying right now. I think it's probably their oldest tool. Vagrant allows you to basically create it's kind of infrastructure as code for virtual machines, and so it allows you to basically build repeatable virtual machines and development environments using virtual machines. So you can set up these Vagrant files. You can give it to someone using VirtualBox, and basically you can give them an image to create, and it's pretty dope. Vagrant's really cool. And Packer's pretty dope. It's used to build automated machine images. I use this for building out machine images for Amazon, and to basically build out these underlying images to be able to deploy servers off of with all the tools and things that I need. I am actually a huge proponent of tools like Packer over so I prefer build time configuration, and I'm always gonna talk about this. People are like, Why? Like, I prefer, rather than using a tool, like, if possible, every project you can't do it on, but rather than using a tool like Ansible or Puppet or Chef, so you take Terraform and you say, all right, Terraform, please give me one server. And then you say, okay, Ansible, please give me a server that has a web server on it, so Nginx of this version, and please give me, you know, these files and things in this place. Please download these things to the server now. I prefer not to do that at all. I prefer to not do runtime configuration of a server. That's what Ansible does. That's what Chef, the server's up and running, and then it goes through it and makes sure those things are good. I prefer to do it at build time. Packer will allow me to say, hey, go ahead and create a machine image that has this version of Nginx already installed and has these things already downloaded. And then when I use Terraform, I point at whatever image I use from Packer and it will give me what I'm asking for. I prefer that. I much prefer build time configuration rather than runtime configuration. Why? And why are we even talking about this? This is not specifically Terraform. Why are we talking about this? Because again, these are all the little things that make you good at infrastructure. You don't have to agree with this at all, but I'm just, you know, this is all good things that you'll have to think about as you're getting farther and farther in your career. And I think when we're talking about all of the DevOps tools, I think it's just fun and important to talk about these things and your opinions about these things, because I think you'll learn a lot as you go through. You won't realize you're learning a lot, but you'll learn a lot. Now, let's say I'm using a tool like Ansible, and I know there's a lot of Ansible lovers out there right now, but let's say, you know, something happens to a server not working well, something weird is happening. I'll blow it away. I blow it completely away. And Terraform's gonna spin up a new one for me. My auto scaling group's gonna spin up a new one for me. Who knows? But a new server is gonna come up, and new server comes up, and then it's gonna, after it comes up, Ansible is gonna go ahead and get it all set up with all the tools that I need. What if, you know, maybe, you know, my application that I'm running, maybe it's a Node.js application. What if the mirrors for me to get Node.js, what if they're down? What if there's a big problem? And what if those mirrors are down? Now, I can no longer provision a new working server because I'm now dependent upon outside resources. I'm now dependent upon someone else's servers being up for me to be able to properly provision my infrastructure, to be able to properly serve my application. So I'd rather do it here. I'd rather get it beforehand and just deploy that thing that has everything involved. Now, that kind of sucks because you can't make dynamic updates to it. I have to build a whole new image and redeploy a whole new image. There are absolutely downsides, but again, I prefer build time. And again, I think it's really good to share these things. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, again, write it down. Everything we talk about that you have no idea about, write it down. You know, put down build time, put down run time, and, you know, just put little stars by it and start to write down this information. Takes time. Absolutely takes time to pick this stuff up. But again, the more you surround yourself with it, the more you start to hear things left and right. Yeah. Is this stream sponsored by Hashicorp? It is not, but Hashicorp has some pretty dope products, and if they want to sponsor, come on over, Mr. Hashimoto Mitchell. We're on first name basis, sir. Come on over, sponsor us. We will talk about many more of your tools if you would like, because I do believe in your tools. We'll definitely we won't do a full excursion on Packer. You don't really need a full excursion on Packer, but absolutely we can do a course or two. We can spend a day or two building out some images via Packer. It's pretty cool tool. And again, this is something that, like, I didn't come to this idea on my own. Like, someone else had said this to me on a way that we were practicing the things that we were doing. We were using Chef, we were using these tools, and like I was like, you know, that's what I knew. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then, like, as we were like, oh, trying to do Packer, I couldn't really understand why we were doing it. And they kind of talked to me about why. And as we started to manage this infrastructure that we had been managing, and we had started to see the changes and like what benefits it really provided, it was dope. Like, this is like, I was like, oh man, I really subscribe to this. And just because someone kind of talked me through their process, I was able to determine if I liked it, determine, you know, the trade-offs, and you know, I'm more comfortable building a brand new image and deploying it than I am, you know, updating the one that's in place and having to worry about that stuff. So I don't know, just have a little fun with it. But yeah, build time is the best if you're trying to scale quickly. You want an image that already has everything you need on time. Yep, you're at the mercy of your stream. So Sidebar, your Linux session helped me easily understand using SSH files instead of repeatedly typing long commands. Absolutely. I'm glad about that. Dope. Declarative versus procedural. Yes. For anyone, this is actually really important in the infrastructure as code world, especially when we're talking about configuration management tools. Some of them are declarative, some of them are imperative, some of them are procedural, some of them are declarative. There are basically some tools where you can declare what you want, where you can, declare what you want to happen, declare the things that you want, and the tool will take over and determine the ordering and the way to set them up properly, which is great, which is really nice. But all tools are like that, and other tools you have to be, they're procedural. They do exactly what you tell them in the order that you tell them. So knowing which ones you're using and knowing which ones, how they work is pretty important, for sure. Oh, I sound like Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's great. That's someone I absolutely look up to. That's also something I would really like to meet Mr. Tyson one day. He's pretty dope. Definitely pretty dope. I always say, for everyone who has been a part of Build so far, I always say, hey, I want someone to be able to come along and, if they want to build a course on rocket science or astrophysics, come on, So Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, maybe we could build a course together on our free platform called Cerebro that we are building. That would be pretty dope. Cattle versus pets. We'll definitely get into cattle versus pets as we get a little farther along. Are you familiar with configuration management databases? I am not. I will absolutely look that up. Something, build time, something, Docker. Yes, that as well. I do love Docker as well. I really love serverless the best, but argument for another day. Okay, yes, it does make your life easier. Apocalypse, absolutely. Okay, a little bit more. Like I said, there's not a lot to get it installed. I highly encourage you to go through Hashicorp's learn phase is really good. If you want to run through this and even get a lot of the information that we're going to be going over beforehand, absolutely go through it. It's really good. I really like their documentation. I really like how easy they make it. They have some cool videos in here that can take you through a lot of stuff. But like I said, that's why we'll be doing every night. We'll be doing kind of real-time build sessions where we'll be getting real tasks. We'll be getting work-like tasks to build. So maybe if you want to go through this to kind of learn the commands, this is going to teach you how to do it, but not the what and the why. So you can absolutely go through this if you'd like. I actually highly encourage you to do it. But to install it, Terraform, to use Terraform, you're gonna have to install it, and it's delivered as a binary package. It's delivered as an executable package for you to use, and you can simply click on it, click on that binary package, and once you click on that binary package, you simply select the one for the operating system that you're currently using. You're using Mac OS, download it. You're using Linux, download it, whatever. So Windows, download it. Yes, I am on Windows, but I'm using the Windows subsystem for Linux. So I'm gonna grab the 64-bit. You very likely, if you're confused about which one to use, choose 64-bit. You're very likely, if you have a computer made after like 2006 or something, 2008, you definitely choose 64-bit, and so that's what you want. So I'm gonna simply, I didn't mean to click on it. You can click on it. If you're working from the command line, I'm gonna right click it and click copy link address. So right click copy link address. You could just download it as well if you know how to get to it, but I'm gonna download it from the command line. And they usually tell you how to install it, manual installation. So precompiled binary, they'll tell you what to do down here, down below. You can absolutely go through and look at that if you'd like. But again, it's a binary, it's an executable binary, and what you can do is you can simply go here, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm here. I am going to, so I downloaded it a while ago, but I deleted it so I can do it right here. I'm gonna remove that. And I'm gonna download it from the command line. And to download it from the command line, I can use either curl or wget. I'm gonna use wget. And I'm just gonna download this right here. And it's gonna download it, and it's gonna download it to a file, a zip file. Name this. If you just click the link and download it, it's gonna download a zip file. If you did that, just make sure you know where it is. And again, it's going to walk you through it here. If you're on Mac and you use Homebrew, simply go ahead and do that. If you're using Chocolatey on Windows, these are package managers that will allow you to easily do it. What do you not what do you don't like about Terraform? So so this is a very interesting question, and the reason why this is an interesting question is because the amount of players in this space is relatively small. The things that you generally like because another provider has implemented this in a worse way. The things that I do not like about Terraform are things that I don't think that it does poorly, but that I just don't like dealing with in terms of managing my infrastructure, mostly because I'm a little bit lazy. So things like state management, I really dislike state management, and I really dislike Terraform state files. They're great, they're absolutely necessary, but I find them to be problematic. We're going to learn about those I think next time or the beginning of next week. Because it's delivered in a binary, makes it easy to install, but it also I don't like the process in which when there are upgrades and it messes up applies. Maybe I just don't know. I mean, maybe there's an easier way to manage it, but I don't know how to manage that. I love Terraform syntax. I like its I don't know, there's not much I don't like, to be honest. There's not much I don't like about Terraform. And again, that might be because I'm comparing it to CloudFormation so much, and pretty much almost everything about Terraform is better. I would say that the one thing that I don't necessarily don't like, but one thing that you should be aware of that can be problematic for you is that because Terraform isn't AWS, it is not Azure. And so when new services and tools and features come out, it's up to Hashicorp and the community to ensure that support for these tools gets added to the providers or to the modules. And so sometimes that can take time. There's been plenty of times where CloudFormation had, functionality to manage a certain service inside of AWS, and it took Terraform months to get up to speed and to be able to add that. So I don't know, that's something you should think about as you're diving into this, because they're not affiliated with these companies. It's up to them, or the people who are managing those modules or those providers to make those updates. So as new features come out, you may have to wait a little bit to be able to use them on Terraform. That's it. Terragrunt wrapper, I've never used that. Should you learn Terraform on VM and cloud? That's fine. It doesn't really matter where you learn it. That's fine. I would only do it there. If you're comfortable with VI or Vim. Just because we're gonna be writing code. So yeah. Pulumi absolutely back. Pulumi is interesting. It's certainly a interesting tool. They're definitely growing. They're growing pretty quickly, actually. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I would like to try it. I've seen them at a lot of conferences, and I think it's very interesting, especially for developers. But I think what sucks is that I think now that Amazon has the CDK, which is basically Amazon Pulumi, that makes it a little bit tough. But Pulumi, like Terraform, has the ability to work with many cloud providers rather than just AWS. So, yep. All right, Large Dog, peace. Thanks for coming through. Definitely thanks for coming through. Have a great night. All right, so to get it installed, I just simply downloaded that zip file. Now, all I'm going to do is unzip that zip file. So I'm going to unzip Terraform. And what it's going to do is it's going to inflate to a single file, which is the Terraform executable. And so you can see right here, there is now a Terraform, just a Terraform file. It's an executable that was created by Go, that was compiled for Linux. And now I can run that. So if I were to do /Terraform and I hit enter, it runs the executable, and it says, hey, just like any Linux command, it says, hey, these are all the available things that you have available. You can apply, console, destroy. It gives you the way that you can start to use this thing. Now, that's not a complete installation. We don't want to have to keep calling this executable by name, but this isn't less of a Terraform thing. This is more of a Linux thing, rather. But let's see what they tell you to do on the installation page, because again, this is a really nice installation doc. It really is really good. Remember I said my favorite part about Terraform was the free documentation. Most 99.9% of companies, of organizations, have nothing like this, have no documentation like this. You are out and lost. So this is, enjoy this while you have it. And so basically all they're telling you to do is to, for Linux, there's this thing called a path variable, and path variable is a collection of places where you're allowed to execute things from. And so they're gonna tell you to do something like this, and it's gonna give you a bunch of places where you can execute things from by default. And what they're gonna tell you to do next is they're gonna tell you to move Terraform, wherever you just downloaded Terraform and extracted it, wherever we unzipped it to, we're gonna move it from that location to a place that is in our path. We're gonna move it to one of the folders that's in our path. And so I can move it to like user local sbin, and if I move it to a place that is in one of these directories that's in my path, I no longer need to like call Terraform like by doing like the / or calling it at its path. I can just call it from anywhere on the computer. I can just type in Terraform and it will run. So right now, just typing in Terraform does not run. I usually like to do things like this. I'll do like a witch ls or a witch top, and then I'm gonna copy Terraform. I'm gonna copy Terraform into what, user bin, and I'll copy it in there. And so now that that's there, I should be able to just type in, oh, I probably needed it. I can just type in the word Terraform no matter where I am on the computer, and it will run. That is, again, a little bit of an extra piece. As long as you're in the directory where you unzipped Terraform, you should be able, you should be good to go. Learn from my mistake, don't scale up, leave debug on, and then leave to go camping. Ended up with 2.6K CloudWatch built on a personal project. First off, yes, I was gonna say contact support and they will remove most of it, if not all. Wow, that is intense, actually. 2.6K for CloudWatch logs. That is very intense. You did go camping though. I see. Song is called Indigo Ink. Maybe, I don't remember. I don't know which song was playing at the time, but there's a song on this list called Codename Indigo. So maybe that was the one. I'm just using this. I gotta play copyrights, no, like songs without copyrights. So we'll get synthwave tonight. Some nights we'll do lo-fi hip hop. Some nights we'll do lo-fi jazz. But yeah, synthwave is tonight. And again, I've been doing synthwave a lot because it matches with the background. Look at this. I love, like, feels real 80s to have the, you know, little background up here with the neon colors. And I was not born in the 80s, but it feels very 80s. I was born right next to the 80s, so I think I watched enough Stranger Things to, know what the 80s feels like, in a high school level jazz band include dope. I've played a lot of instruments. I don't have any instruments right now. I played percussion. I played the trumpet. I played trombone for a little while as well. I played guitar for a long time. I should really get on the guitar. Play guitar for like a really long time. yeah, I do love playing music, but I left band. I wasn't good. Well, high school, my high school was very good musically, and because I couldn't make the like good band, I quit band. I couldn't handle being in the just regular band. I wanted to be in the good band, and I was not good enough. I'm sorry, Nor. I'm sorry. We all feel old at times. I feel old all the time, mostly because my joints and breaking down. But yes, I was not good enough to make the good band, and it was sad, very sad. But I will tell you this: senior year, I did join chorus, and I did get MVP for the bass section. Okay, I was in the lowest chorus. I was in the lowest chorus. We had the Dematha singers. That was ours. Then there was the voices of Dematha were the best ones, and I forgot what the middle people were called. But I did get an award. I have it. I have a plaque. The MVP of the bass section. So if you ever want me to sing some songs for you all, I will happily do so. It's pretty exciting times. I was very surprised to get it at the time. But okay, so we do have Terraform installed now. Wow, I don't know why I did that. So I have no tab completion on it. I need to put it in a new place, but we do have Terraform. And so typing in Terraform gives us the commands that we can do, and we are going to learn about most of these commands, if not all of them. Not all of them, but most of these commands and how to properly use them. Not a big deal. Right now, we're not going to learn any of them, but what I want you to do is what I want you to do before next class is to get Terraform installed, and then the next part we're going to do is we're just going to get a text editor installed just for everyone to be ready, and talk about the Hashicorp language a little bit, configuration language a little bit, to just understand how we're going to be writing code. But we're going to be interacting with Terraform from the command line a lot from here on out. So just make sure you can get it installed. And again, if you want to go through and do all this other stuff, feel free to do so. You can absolutely go through their quick start tutorial to kind of get up and running if you want. They'll actually have you to deploy some infrastructure to AWS. Oh, that is, I'm really hurt that I did not include this. In the original write-up for this. We will be deploying things to AWS. We would be deploying all free tier stuff, but we've done AWS courses here before, so you may have used up your free tier stuff. I do not think that, yes, it's going to feel good to deploy these things. Yes, it's going to, I highly encourage you to do so, but I understand that not everyone can do that. I understand that maybe you don't want to put AWS does require a credit card, but your bill can be free. Most likely will be free. I don't think that's a blocker for you to be able to learn this. I wanted to put that in there. I wanted to give you a heads up to do that. So if you don't have an AWS account, I highly encourage you set one up. It's free to just get one set up. And I will point you to a video. I'll actually include it in this list on what to do, on how to get it set up and how to get configured properly. We will go over initial configuration of that next time as well. But I think you can still learn all the things that we're going to learn without doing that. You just won't be able to deploy the things if you don't want to do that. Yes. So there, I do have a whole, oh yes, this is the entire introduction to the cloud using AWS. If you just want to maybe watch the introduction, there's a playlist right here to kind of get a little bit familiar. But yeah, we are going to be deploying things to AWS. So yeah. All right, the last piece of what we're going to learn tonight with a little bit of time that we have left is just learn a little bit about the Hashicorp configuration language and just get an editor installed and get it set up. At the very beginning, I talked about the Hashicorp language, and learning this language. And again, I think this is where people get a little bit afraid. Do not be afraid at all. How do you write the Terraform configuration? You got to write it in some way. Terraform, as with pretty much every, not anymore, but a lot of other configuration management tools, especially, or provisioners, infrastructure as code tools, use their own domain specific language, their own DSL, and to declare infrastructure assets and configurations. This just means that they're not using a generic programming language that you're used to, like Python or like Java or like Go. They're using a language that is specific to the tool itself. And so Terraform uses something called HCL, and this is actually an example of HCL over here on the right. And there's a link that I provided that gives you some information directly from Hashicorp. And usually I really hate to use technical documentation sucks. And I usually hate to use that documentation to talk about these things. I usually like to make my own or find some other more descriptive things. But again, I think that Terraform's documentation is amazing. And this is just a simple introduction to their syntax. And it's really it's kind of like a little hybrid. So a lot of DevOps tooling uses something called YAML. This is not YAML, but this is YAML-esque. It's also JSON-esque. These are all just ways to collect and to kind of format your data. But it really is just a bunch of blocks and keys and values that's kind of set up like JSON. The most complicated part is that it has these curly braces. I think curly braces are intimidating for most people. I think they're the thing that make it intimidating. If these were not here, you'd have a bunch of keys and values. Honestly, you'd have a bunch of kind of descriptive things. And so HCL is what we're going to be using. Again, we don't have to learn this language. We're not gonna have to sit down and learn this language, but it does have a lot of features which we're going to learn throughout the course. It has a lot of features that are intrinsic to programming languages. So things like types and values are or can be a thing here. Strings and numbers and booleans. And again, I'll have next time on Wednesday when you come back through, this page, the day 2 page, is filled with information. It's filled with resources. It's filled with things. So we're going to talk about it when the time comes, and you'll have plenty of information to kind of continue to figure out what this stuff is without having to read through all this stuff and memorize all these things. I promise you, all this stuff's not important right now for you to be able to learn Terraform. It will become helpful as we go through things, and ultimately you'll need to know it, but like right now you don't. But yeah, just a bunch of key values. You're gonna say, hey, I want basically let's go back to one of these blocks, or let's actually look at the example we have here. I know it's small. Let's see if I can make it any larger. But you're basically gonna define a block that says, hey, I want this thing. I want a resource that's called this, and then everything that's underneath it is gonna be how you set it up. All the keys and values. So a key, then the equal sign, and then a value. So you're gonna say, hey, I want a resource which is a Google Compute Network called example, and I want that I'm going to refer to as example. I want to call that network test network, auto create subnets false. And so basically all of the configuration that you want is going to be underneath. You're going to write the block, you're going to configure it with some options underneath. That's essentially what you're going to be doing. It's much more dynamic than that. You get much more dynamic. There are things like loops. There are things like variables. It's got a lot of cool things to make your infrastructure much more dynamic, but it's pretty simple. You kind of just tell it what you want. I want a server called this with this much memory, with this much CPU, with attached to this network based on this machine ID, this AMI, this machine image. And I want this network that has set up this way with these subnets. And so it's actually pretty simple as you kind of get a little bit more comfortable. So if we're going to be writing HCL, what are we using to write HCL now? Whatever you want to use to write HCL is what you should use. This is not going to be a prescriptive course for anyone who has no idea what to write with, has never used a text editor before, or just doesn't have strong opinions about text editors. The text editor that I recommend that you should be using is something called VS Code, Visual Studio Code, which is easily, and this is another one of my I just believe this to be true things. I don't know it to be fact. But this has to be the most popular text editor right now. Has to be. It is it's relatively new. It's made by Microsoft, the new amazing Microsoft, which is doing all this open source stuff, and pretty dope company. Check it out. It is a phenomenal text editor, free, open source. You can get it on Mac, Linux, and Windows. So whichever operating system you have, please, if you don't know what text editor you want to use VS Code. It really is that good. It really is that good. I do not use it. Why don't I use it? I do have it installed here. It is the only other text editor I have installed besides the one that I use. I'm a Vim user. I do not encourage you to use Vim. Vim is a text editor that lives inside of the terminal. And so if I wanted to like look at this, do we have any cool, what's in test.py? Yeah. So Vim is a text editor that lives inside the browser. Inside of the CLI, the terminal. I would not use it if I were you. The learning curve is pretty high. But if you're interested in it, I can give you a plugin to use for this. I'm not using any plugins for Terraform for this. It kind of works pretty well out of the box with it. But if you are going to use something for code completion, COC, I think it was Commander of Completion or something like that. It is, I hope Twitch doesn't ban me, but it is pronounced cock with COC. That's what it is. It's a good tool. Prime, I just started using it recently because of Prime. The Prime again who's a dope streamer here as well, who's like the Vim master of the world. And again, I'm just trying to get better at Vim. It's a really cool tool, but use VS Code. Please use VS Code. Download it. Let's close this. Yeah, please download it. It's really great. Why are we using VS Code? Yours will not look exactly like mine, but the reason why we're using VS Code is 1, tons of support, 2, great features, 3, as performant as you would want it to be, but 4 is the amazing plugin system, the amazing extension system. So to get ready for Terraform, all I want you to do is simply click on this extensions tab right here and simply type in Terraform. And when I type in Terraform, I can install this very first one here. There's a bunch of different options, and I can install this Terraform tool, which will give me a lot of tools to be able to develop Terraform faster. These tools, I know some people who don't like to use tools like this. I think they're cool. You don't have to use them. But if I were to make a Terraform file just really quick, I call this just test.tf. So TF is the extension for a Terraform file. Look at this. VS Code is really nice. It automatically knows it's a Terraform file and gives me a little icon here to let me know because I have Terraform installed. Lets me know, what I have installed, and I can start to do things. If I don't know what I want, what am I doing wrong here? Why is it not, do I have to reload? That would be weird if reload required. Okay. I had to reload real quick. I was like, it's not giving me any of the cool stuff that I know that I need. But now if I type in something like, why is it not, what's happening here? I thought it was just gonna work. Nah, let's see what's happening. It should work. Do I need to, is it because I don't have like a provider and stuff set up yet? I don't use VS Code, and I don't use VS Code anymore, so I don't know. Visioners, interesting. Maybe it doesn't work through WSL. Wrote this, WSL is installed. Well, save the file. That makes sense. That kind of makes sense. It says one unsaved still. There we go, saved. What? Okay, I don't know. Whoa, I didn't mean to click on that. That's gonna take a long time. I don't know why it's not giving me any like suggestions. So to usually give you some suggestions. I don't know why. I don't use it. But you can simply install it that way. It should, I'm sure this has something to do with WSL2 and maybe some updates I need to make to the server. They have like a remote WSL server. Maybe I need to do something here. I don't know why it's not working, but it should give you some stuff like this. Like this is Go, and if I were to type in, maybe I was trying to do a function and I were to type in, oh, it's not giving me anything. Well, okay, that's because I don't have Go installed in WSL2. This is more of an issue of me using WSL2. What about Python? Let's see, is it gonna give me anything in Python? What if I try to, oh, look at all this. What if I try to do, yeah, it'll try to give you some code completion and it'll set up some blocks for you. I don't know. It should help. I'm not using this. I'm gonna be using Vim. So, but you should use this. If you don't have an editor or you don't know what you want to use, you should use VS Code for this. Also, VS Code is nice because what we're gonna be doing, there are other text editors that have this feature. Probably on the last day, probably on the only reason I haven't announced this is because I haven't gotten it to work. Well, I haven't tested it properly with many people, but what I do want to allow people to do, we're gonna be doing a little bit of a lab on the very last day. And what I want to do is I want to use for anyone who's willing, you absolutely don't have to do it, but I want to use Zoom breakout rooms to be able to set up groups of 2 or 3, and I also want to be able to set up what's it called, live share. There's like a live share, a real-time collaborative live share extension to where multiple people can work out of the same code base at the exact same time. Like it's a pretty interesting thing, and I would love to be able to get people in groups of 2 or 3. You don't have to speak on Zoom or anything like that, but just as a way to break out into little groups if you want to break out into groups and do some cool live sharing collaborative sessions. I will use it for that on that day. But yeah, it's pretty dope. And I want to test it out first with a smaller group, but I would like to start incorporating something like this as we get deeper down the line. You know, because Zoom breakout rooms are pretty cool to kind of just put you in your own little corner. You know, I know when you're learning a brand new thing, it's really nice to, if you know you're sitting in the house trying to learn it on your own and you're running into problems, it's really nice to be able to just ask someone something really quick in case we miss your question or something. It's pretty dope. We'll try it out, and we'll keep trying it until we can figure out a good process for it. First time it'll be clunky, but I don't know, it'll be pretty fun. We'll see. Works great. Only problems are new files sometimes. Yeah, so we'll try it out. Cloud9, yes, does provide a similar experience. Also, I'm telling y'all, I cannot wait. All of this will be so much easier when GitHub code spaces are out. So Microsoft, if y'all didn't know, owns GitHub, purchased GitHub. Microsoft owns VS Code. They're basically going to allow you to use VS Code as an editor. Code Spaces is an online editor, you know, inside of GitHub, which is phenomenal. I love it. I think because GitHub is such a, you know, it's a tool that everyone uses. Or like so many developers and things, it's so important to the industry that like it's going to be really nice when we're doing things like this. No longer am I going to have to tell people how to get their stuff set up. Yes, I still really like to set things up locally for a number of reasons, but it's going to be a nice option to have this out there. And I bet you once Code Spaces is in general availability, it's going to be so easy to do like collaborative sessions and stuff with multiple people. I bet it's going to be so easy. I'm hoping. So it'll be pretty dope. I'm on the list as well. J.W, welcome. Thank you so much for oh man, 23 people, come on in. It sucks because we are right at the end. We're just kind of chilling and chatting right now. I'm gonna give people about 30 seconds. Like I said, I know those pre-roll ads can be rough. They can be a little bit rough. But yeah, past one I had a lot of problems with GitHub webhooks, making me want to migrate repos to code build. Yeah, I mean, yes, I don't really love code build, but I'm also not saying GitHub is the most amazing at all. I like GitLab a lot. To me, they're all fine. I've seen a bunch of problems with their webhooks as well, though. Oh, thank you, Validator. I appreciate that. That, you know, makes me feel good. Makes me feel good about my, you know, my voice. I just like the third comment I've gotten tonight. I get it a lot more than usual. It's really nice, you know. I may have to, you know, get into the movie voice game. You know, might be nice. Not a typical use case though. 19,000. We self-host. Interesting. And Jenkins. So one thing I'll never do again. Self-hosting Jenkins is really bringing up some bad memories with me. Yeah, when it comes to CI tools, there's not a lot of technologies that I dislike. Jenkins is in fact one of them. I do dislike Jenkins, not because it's not I actually think Jenkins is a good product. Jenkins does a lot of dope things, does a lot of great things. You can make it do whatever you want, but the management of Jenkins is super problematic. Yes, I can. So I actually did a whole DevOps talk using movie trailers that I created myself. Hold on, let me see if I can find them in here real quick. Oh, you know what? No, I actually have them. Let me see if it works. Oh, it's not gonna work because I did it in a different. I actually did it in regular OBS. But hold on, I actually made movie trailers, and yes, I can say coming this summer. But let's see here. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up one of these real fast. Videos. Mastermind. I don't know where they went. Code, recordings, documents, maybe. Presentation, templates. I don't know where they went, and it's hurting me. But yes, I can say coming this summer. Get ready. So I worked on it. I worked on it a little bit. I was like, hey, I want to be, and then you can add a little bit of reverb and say, this summer, get ready for the motion event picture of the year. Okay, one day we're gonna make some. We're gonna get famous. Okay, if tech doesn't work out for us, we're going into the movie voice business, and it's gonna be fun. But yeah, like I said, because of that, because people had told me so many times, they're like, yo, your voice, like you got to do some movie voice stuff or radio stuff. And I was like, all right, well then I'll just make a DevOps talk. I'll make a tech talk using some movie trailers. I'll find it for you all. I'll send you the link to that as well. It was fun. It was pretty fun. If I ever have an event, thank you. I appreciate that, validator. I would love to voice your event. I do appreciate it. I want to find the videos for it, but yeah. So we talked about a lot of stuff tonight. Tonight was chill. The first night of a new excursion is usually pretty chill. But hopefully you have a little bit of an idea of what Terraform is. We're going to be provisioning web infrastructure, cloud infrastructure using code. So we're going to write some code, and we're going to use that code to give us some real tangible things, and we're going to learn how to use it properly. We're going to learn the different ways, different paradigms to manage things, how Terraform works, and how to go about utilizing it to solve real world problems. So what I want you to do is, if you don't have an Amazon account and you really want to follow along, please sign up for an AWS account. So let me add, before we leave, I'll add all these things here so that you can all get to them. I think Amazon's website is aws.amazon.com. And you can go here and you can sign up for the account is free. It does ask for a credit card, but it is a free account. And the things that we're going to be spinning up are in fact free. Won't cost you anything. So you can do that. And I can put you to some videos for some billing alarms and stuff to make sure that it's free for you. And then the other things I want you to do is simply make sure you have Terraform installed by next time. And really, the thing I really want you to have is VS Code downloaded, or a text editor, any text editor that you would like downloaded. The extension is optional, but go ahead and get yourself a text editor just so that you're ready for next time. If you would like to go through get a head start, you can absolutely get a head start. We're not going to be doing this this workflow, but they have a quick tutorial if you want to do some stuff. It'll teach you how to make some different things, which you can do. Oh yeah, I think this one's pretty interesting because I actually think you can do this one locally. I think it'll allow you to manage Docker locally on your computer. Pretty cool if you're trying to check that out. But yeah, just get it installed so we can be ready to go next time. And again, what are we doing next time? Let's talk about that real fast as well, just so you know what you're walking into. I lost the page that fast. Next time we are simply talking about Terraform workflow. What happens and how what should you expect in the workflow for Terraform? What does Terraform expect you to do in a certain order? Configuration validation. So after you write some configuration, how do you know that it's right, and getting introduced to the configuration as well? We're going to be talking about state and understanding state and state management. We're not going to do all of state here. We're going to understand state here. We're going to learn about state management on day 4, a little bit more, bigger topics in state management. Then we'll learn about providers, and using all these things that we learn, we're going to do some dope stuff. We'll probably learn about all this stuff in the first 45 minutes to an hour, and we'll take the last hour and a half, and we'll have real user stories, and we're going to go through, and you all who've been here for a little while know that I like to set up, these like fake scenarios. Hey, we work at this company, and got to set it up, got to set the scene. We'll set the scene, and we will solve real problems for them that cover the things that we just learned about tonight. Dope. I love that you copied the clip. I love it. Thank you. You clipped it for me. I appreciate this. Does Joplin count as a text editor? I don't know what that is, but it sounds like it doesn't. Joplin. Open source note taking to do application. Okay. All right. No. And that's my bad. No. You need some. Well, so yes, it is. You would be able to write code probably using this note taking app if you can change the extension of the file. But no, you need something that's very specific to writing code. So these are things, again, like VS Code. There's some other cool free popular ones out there. Atom is one, also made by GitHub before it was purchased by Microsoft, still in development. Pretty good one. There is Sublime. You could use Notepad. Notepad++ is actually a pretty good text editor for coding. Notepad++, if you would like, but again, if you're not sure, I'm telling you, VS Code is what you want. It really is what you want. If you hate Microsoft, then download Sublime Text. It's freemium. You get a little pop-up saying, hey, please buy me, but it's fine. You can use it for free. Which providers? Like I said, we're gonna be using AWS, and maybe we'll do some, you know what? Maybe if I have time, no, because then I'll have to teach you to learn. I'll have to tell everyone to install Docker. If you can install Docker, go ahead and install Docker. Maybe we'll do it, because that would have been good for the second time we'll do that. This time we'll use AWS. This current next time we'll do some stuff with the Docker ahead of time, since you can do stuff locally there. But yeah, that's it. That is it for tonight. Thank you everyone for coming through. Tomorrow night we'll be back with build. So we're gonna hop right back into our building our application. Again, we're building a Gatsby based application. We're building an open source course building tool. So think like your Udemy, think like a Pluralsight, where you have a course that's created where you can follow your progress, log in, track your progress through these courses. But the real pull here is that the course building is open source. So people will be able to come in, experts in any industry, any topic, will be able to come in and build a course out using the freely available content that's out here on the internet. Tons of content out on the internet, tons of free information out on the internet, but none of it is curated. So again, if Neil deGrasse Tyson wants to come along and make a course on astrophysics, he can come along, and he doesn't need to know how to code or anything, doesn't need to know how to use GitHub. We'll be able to log into a backend interface, and it takes him through a structure to build out a course with as many units as he would like, and that thing gets built out into this cool course for anyone to consume in a way that we like to consume courses. So there are people have these readmes on they've got these repos that take you through these things. It's not for everybody. It's not, for some of us that's great, But for most people, that's not really, people like to, you know, be able to click through and see their progress and, you know, click the button to next, to the next video, and know exactly what to do next, to read the article, to have the resources. And this is going to give people a way to do that. And I think it's gonna be pretty fun. I hope it's gonna be pretty fun. I think it's gonna be pretty exciting. And if it's terrible, you know, we learn a Gatsby. So I am not a web developer. I know how to do some web development, and so that's why some of this is fun. I'm an infrastructure person, I'm an infrastructure guy, and it's fun. We're learning Gatsby. There's a lot of exploration on those streams. So Tuesday and Thursday of the next few weeks will be that, and we're gonna see what we can get out. We're gonna try to get an MVP out as quickly as possible. And that's it. Ridgeback Dad, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But that's it. Who are we heading over? At the end of every stream, we head over and we raid somebody from the Twitch community. Who are we gonna head over and raid this evening? Science and technology. Again, there's a lot of dope people. I highly encourage you, again, if it's your first time on Twitch for some of this stuff, I highly encourage you to just check different people out throughout the day. You might find someone you like a lot. Like I said, I learn a lot from the people that I've chosen to watch. And even now, because we're home and stuff, I kind of leave them up on one screen. I have a lot of screens here. I kind of leave them up on one screen, and I can't tell you how much I pick up throughout the day. Melky Dev, absolutely. Let's cool. I will do that. So first, we'll come through and learning TypeScript. So if you want to learn some JavaScript, excellent. I'm already following, so excellent. So let's head over and let's do the raid. Crumbs was taken. Thank you so much for the 100 bits. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. How many screens do you have? 4. I have 4 screens. I'm not using one right now, but I have 4 screens. I have 3 27-inch monitors and a 38-inch ultra wide. But yes, that's what I have, and I don't need that many screens. It is nice sometimes though. But yes, low dash, no dash. But yeah, let's head over and let's say hello to Melky Dev and learn a little bit of TypeScript. I have not spent much time learning TypeScript. I've used TypeScript a little bit. I love Go. JavaScript is okay. I know JavaScript fairly well, and I'm really excited to learn TypeScript because I do like types. I like typed languages. I do like statically typed languages a lot. So I'm gonna stick around for a little while. But say hello. Let them know that you know, we're creating the community here. I really love the science and tech community here on Twitch. It's pretty dope, and I'm hoping we can grow it. A Rust or Go. So I'm supposed to be learning Rust right now. I was supposed to be doing 100 days of code. I failed miserably at it. I would love to learn Rust. I would love to learn it. You know, people seem to love Rust. I don't know enough about Rust to speak confidently about the differences between them, but people seem to love it. So if anyone says Rust, I'm with it. I love Go, but I don't know Rust yet, so I'm gonna learn it real soon. So Melk. Wait, how's it spelled? Dev. There we go. They need an autocomplete for the raids out here. Thank you so much, Beck, for the 100 bits. Really do appreciate it. Everyone's just been so supportive. I do appreciate it. I definitely do. Yes, I think Go is easy to learn for sure. But you know, I think I learn one and learn the other. I'm gonna check it out tonight, but we're gonna head over now. I gotta go do some stuff. One of the things I will be doing is rendering out the video. So if you missed Contained, which was a 6-part Docker series, I'm gonna try to get that up on YouTube tonight. If not tonight, definitely at least the first couple will be. My upload speeds here are not amazing, so I gotta render them out and then I gotta upload them. You should start to see them up on the YouTube channel very soon. But cool, peace out everybody. Let's go say hello to Melky Dev, and I'll see you either tomorrow or Wednesday. Bye-bye.